Well, hello and welcome back to part 2 of solving quadratics by the quadratic formula. I'm not going to read through all of it, but just remember the rules or the learning intent is that you must know how to formula to find the solutions for a quadratic equation. In order to be able to do that, you definitely need to know how to find your A, B, and C values on that. And guys, you do have to memorize the quadratic formula. I will never give it to you on any worksheet, lab, you name it, to you. So you do have to have that memorized. So don't ask me what it is or your neighbor what it is. The other thing that you're going to need to be sure that you do is to identify a form for a quadratic. And again, it is ax, oops, my bad on that. It is squared plus bx plus c. And it needs to be in this formula in order to use the quadratic formula. Okay, so again, here's the quadratic formula on that. And again, remember one of the very key things, and b is a negative number, you need to put it in parentheses. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started just running some quadratic formulas. Okay, so I'm on number 6 on the I do's. Again, remember the quadratic formula is the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and then that's all over 2a. I'm not a singer, so you don't want me to sing, but I've heard that there are several, especially online and so forth, songs that go with the quadratic formula. I've also heard that Mr. Ho has taught you a song. So either way, if you don't have one already known, then be sure to find it. Okay. So again, there is our formula. It was above a little bit that down on there. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing again is to remember that you're in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. And we are in this case, it's equal to 0. Now again, reminder that if you're graphing, it may be equal to y or equal to f of x, but still it's the same process. So again, we're going to identify our a, b, and c. So a is 1, b is 5, and c is 2. So I would definitely suggest that you always do that first. And it is x equals. So we're just going to substitute our numbers in. So the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of, and it's b squared minus 4 times a times c. Okay. Make sure that radical does go all the way across, and then make sure your division bar is everything. And then it's 2 times a. Okay. Also, when you're simplifying, don't drop off your denominator. I've seen people do that. You'll forget it, and 1 I'll count off because it's not without the 2a. So we're just going to simplify. A negative 5 plus or minus. I'm going to simplify first under the radical. And guys, I do not carry a calculator. That's fine. But I still should see steps on there. So 4 times 2 is 8. I talked about the negatives. There's only 1 there. Please organize your work. So 25 minus 8, I believe, is 17, and over 2. Okay, I got that coming along. I'm going to shorten that down a little bit. There we go. Now, this is where your simplifying of radicals come in. Will the square root of 17 simplify? And the answer is no, it won't. And so if all I'm doing is asking you to solve, which this is, then this is your answer. Okay? You are welcome to separate it if you would like. Now here's the difference though. If I ask you for the x-intercepts, I do expect you to tell me in this form that it is this 0. Whoops, that's bad. I shouldn't have done that because I'm going to take that off. It's the plus one, and then your other would be the negative of it. Now when you do go to actually graph, okay, you will put this in your calculator and find a decimal value so that you can have an estimate. I would just put that answer underneath, okay? Not in place of. I want the exact. That's what this is called. This is called the exact answer, and this is called a rounded, okay, answer. And so we need the rounded so we can get to our graph and find our x-intercepts, but If I just ask you for the x-intercepts, give me the exact. You can give me both, but I need the exact. Okay, let's do another one. So on 7, identify B and C, and it is set equal to 0. So A is 3, B is 2, and if you look at this, there's no constant. That means there's no, okay. So the opposite of B, plus or minus the square root of B squared times A times C. Now make sure you know where I got everything. And then it's over 2 times A. Now it's down to simplification. So if you can get to that step, the rest is simply generations and simplifying. So a negative 2 plus or minus 4 minus, and 4 times 3 is just 0, is 6. Don't try to rush this. So the 4 is 2 over 6. This one is going to come out to be real numbers or fractions of that nature. Technically, a radical is also a real on that, but we're going to look at value here. So remember, it's a negative 2 plus 2 over 31 of them, and the other is a negative 2 minus 6. So guys, we are on the next set. I don't know if that last one got clicked off. It should have been 0, negative 2/3 as a final answer there. Okay, so number 8. Again, let's identify our A, B, and C. So A is 1, B is 4, and C is 3. Plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. Just writing that again so we can see it. So X equals a negative 4 plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2 times A. Now we just need to simplify. So a negative 4 plus or minus 16 minus 12, I couldn't see there, all over 2. So negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 4, it looks like, over 2. Negative 4 plus or minus 2 over 2. Okay, and again, there's no radical left, so we're just going to continue this one out. 4 plus 2 over 2, and a negative 4 minus 2 over 2. So in this case, negative 4 plus 2, slide that up. Negative 4 plus 2 is a negative over 2 is a negative 1, and a negative 4 minus 2 is a negative 6 over 2, which is a negative 3, and that would be our final answer. Okay. Now I can show you also how to check that. If I remember, I'll come back in and tell you about how to quickly do a quick check on them, especially if they're whole numbers. Okay, let's go ahead and try number 9 real quick. Again, make sure it does equal 0, and it is. So A equals 2, B equals 1, and C equals 6. So X equals, I'm not going to rewrite the quadratic because we have it over there. So the opposite of B, plus or minus B squared minus 4 times A times C over 2 times A. So now let's simplify. So 1 squared would be 1 minus 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 6 is 48 over 4. And we have 1 minus 48, which is a negative 47 over 4. Now I can't quit there, even though I see I've got a radical left. Let's look at a negative 47. Negative 47 is prime, or 47 is prime. But I do need to take care of the negative. So that, remember, is I. 47. If you need to, remember we write it out as the two factors, and the square root of a -1 is I. Okay, all over 4. And again, since there is a radical left for this, since we're just solving, leave it as this is our final answer. Okay, so there's your 4 examples. Do the quadratic on there. Hopefully that makes sense, and we'll be doing a lot more of these in class.